We've just released our winter forecast, and Simon, who joins me today, has been looking ahead to December, January and February. Now, there's a lot of talk around a big freeze, but Simon, is there a biggie on the way?
I'd be a brave man to suggest that, wouldn't I? Or foolish, one of the two. I don't think it's going to be a particularly exceptionally cold winter, but I think what we will see is more of a winter than we had last year. I think it's going to be front-loaded, so probably milder conditions through December and January overall. There'll still be some cold snaps, but then becoming colder during February. Rainfall amounts above normal, particularly towards the west, but even in the east it's going to be pretty wet and windy at times as well.
So wetter, windier, milder as well. But I guess the question that everybody wants to know in a winter forecast in terms of a highlight is, are we actually going to see any snow?
Now that's the statement that strikes fear into the heart of any meteorologist. I think we will see more snow than we saw last year, but given that last year was really an exceptional as far as snow goes, that's not going to be too hard.
And I guess looking at the bigger picture, weather-wise, we've obviously talked a lot this year about the El Nino, its impact on weather patterns and affecting different parts of the globe, extreme weather for example. How does that work with snowfall and the European forecast?
Okay, so we like you say, there's been a lot of talk around El Nino. It certainly has been a strong event, but there are other factors at work as well. We've got a warm North Pacific, that famous warm blob that we've been hearing about, colder water in the Atlantic west of the UK, and a warm Indian Ocean as well. So El Nino is only one factor, and actually I think when you take into account those other cycles, El Nino itself becomes less important. So certainly it's something that I've taken account of when producing the winter forecast, but it's not the only thing that we're looking at. Those others are having an impact as well.
And would you pick out any years gone by that have been strong El Nino years that have then had a reflection on the winter to come?
We saw 1997 was a particular one. That certainly did have an impact in terms of its winter weather, but at that time sea temperatures elsewhere around the globe were nearer normal. We weren't seeing the extremes that we're seeing this year. So actually this one is almost out there on its own, that the strong El Nino is there, but we have all of these other things coming in as well to affect the forecast. It's actually going to be really interesting to see how this one turns out and, you know, how accurate we actually are with it, because as I say, this is an event that's on its own. It'll be fascinating to see exactly what happens at the end of the winter period.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on that, and you can keep an eye on the rest of the forecast as we go through December and then into the following months at the Weather Network UK.